Now moving on to another bit of news about a time when the Prime Minister called for empowering women in armed forces, the Defence Minister asserting that women will be having a bigger role in such services. Wing Commander Pooja Thakur has dragged the Indian Air Force to court for not giving her permanent commission. The lady officer grabbed national headlines when she became the first woman officer to lead an inter-service guard of honor last year when President Obama visited India for the Republic Day parade. Wing Commander Thakur has now claimed that the Air Force's decision to not grant her permanent commission is what she calls, and I quote, biased, discriminatory, arbitrary and unreasonable. The Armed Forces Tribunal has admitted the matter and has even sought the Indian Air Force's response within the next 4 weeks. The Defence Ministry, however, has denied the charge of discrimination. Now, sources have told India Today that Wing Commander Pooja Thakur was offered permanent commission 4 years ago, but she declined the offer back then. Defence Ministry sources also claim that the issue is not related to gender bias, but it is about being given a second chance.
We are not challenging it in as such. We are only saying that that policy is not putting any such condition, whereas for the women officers, they have specifically brought out this policy, which is, to our mind, is unfair. So when she opted for it, now they are using the same HRP policy and saying that you will not be given, not on the ground that you are not meeting the criteria or your merit is not good enough for permanent commission. Only condition is that we have given you the chance, you missed the bus.
Okay, so this is the news. The Wing Commander Pooja Thakur, who led the Guard of Honor for Barack Obama, the picture of which you are seeing on your screens, has now sued the Indian Air Force. In fact, she says that she has been denied permanent commission. She says that, this is an example of discrimination and bias. So that is really why she has taken the Indian Air Force to the Armed Forces Tribunal. That's because she has been denied permanent commission. Now, there are some bit of news coming in as far as this particular complaint is concerned that has been filed by Wing Commander Pooja Thakur, is that the Indian Air Force did offer her permanent commission 4 years back, but at that point she refused. And now she has taken the Indian Air Force, she has moved the Armed Forces Tribunal after the Indian Air Force apparently denied her permanent commission. Now, let's just understand a little bit more about this story. Let's go to India Today's Jugal Purohit, who is very closely tracking the story. Jugal, now here is, the Wing Commander who has sued the Indian Air Force. She's complaining of bias and discrimination. But what's the inside story? What exactly has happened? Because we have also heard that according to the Indian Air Force, according to some sources, she was offered permanent commission 4 years back.
That's right, Avantika. Her case is obviously out there in the limelight, given the kind of profile that Wing Commander Pooja Thakur enjoyed of being the first woman officer, leading President Barack Obama during his Republic Day visit to India in 2015. What I am given to understand, and while the matter is now in court, we do not have an official response from the Defence Ministry, which requested us to not ask them because they will represent themselves in the court, in the Armed Forces Tribunal. But what we understand through our sources is that this is actually more of a case where, Wing Commander Thakur actually required, or rather asked for, a second chance, so to speak, because about 4 years back when, an offer of permanent commission had actually come to her, she had actually categorically rejected the same. She had in fact sought an extension which was granted to her. Then she tried to get a premature exit out of the service in her final few days, withdrew that application and then made another application seeking permanent commission, which was refused. What we are also given to understand by sources is that this refusal and the fact that the earlier rejection taken together, changes cannot be made in an officer, in a batch, in a retrospective manner. What we are also told is that in her own batch, there were about 12 women officers and 10 of them have already made it in permanent commission. So the Air Force is trying very hard, though off record and not really, speaking to us officially. But sources are telling us that the Air Force is trying really hard to put out a picture where it says that there is no bias whatsoever. If out of 12, 10 actually make it through as permanent commission women officers, then where is the question of bias? That's what is what is being told. The Air Force also, we're aware, has opened up all possible streams, much more than the Army and the Navy, for women officers to progress in. So that's the side that is coming out from sources within the Defence Ministry. Now, Why is this so important? Because the profile that she had enjoyed, the entire efforts, and remember, Avantika, this is not so much about the Air Force's own move or the Army or the Navy's move. This is something which is coming right from the top, from the Prime Minister himself, the move to have more representation for women officers in the armed forces. Now, if something like this is now, coming to the fore, it definitely puts the forces in a very poor light. But as I said, the Defence Ministry has a slightly different take, and they're saying that they will be representing it officially in the Armed Forces Tribunal.
All right. Jugal, thanks so much for joining us. Clearly, that is some embarrassment coming in for the Indian Air Force, allegations of bias and discrimination at a time when very recently the Indian Air Force inducted the first batch of women pilots into its fighter squad.